What's up, guys? I'm at the Hustler Casino here to play with Lex and Wolfgang Poker, playing 2-3 no limit. So let's go!
Yeah, I mean, the nice thing is that I just don't like till, you know.
Alright, we got the flush. Okay, he's got a set of eights. We got her. Hold.
Tell him he's got a lot of class, and it's all low.
We sit down at this 2-3 game with $500, and the first big hand we pick up is Queen King of Clubs in the cutoff. I open to $15 and the button and big blind call. 3 ways to a flop that comes Queen, Queen 10, Rainbow. We flop trips, so when the big blind checks, I bet $15. They both decide to call, and because there's only one queen left, they're much more likely to have a 10 or a straight draw. The turn comes an ace, and the big blind checks to me. The ace completes the most likely straight draw, King Jack, so I check, and the button bets $50. The big blind folds, and I think about the button's bet. He may have a straight, but I call to evaluate a river, and what do you know, it comes out a king, giving us a full house. I know people have a tough time giving up a straight, so I decide to bet and I make it big, $225. He thinks for about 20 seconds, then calls. He has Jack 10 and we start off with a nice pot. Next we get 10 Jack of Hearts in the hijack. There's a straddle, so I open to $20. The small blind calls, then the big blind 3 bets to $70. In low stakes, most people don't 3-bet lightly, but I'm in position and my hand has endless possibilities. I call, the small blind calls, and the flop comes Queen 3-7 Rainbow. The big blind bets $215, and now I have one possibility to drop out. I fold, the small blind folds, and the big blind shows pocket aces. After that, I move to Wolfgang Poker's table. Hopefully I can get in the mix with him, and I'm in the straddle with King Queen of Diamonds. It folds to the small blind, who limps. The big blind makes it $23, and I put in the 3-bet to $70. They both fold, I make a stress-free $30, and we're moving on. Now I pick up Ace 4 of Diamonds in the small blind. The Lojack limps, the cutoff opens to $20, the button calls the $20, and it's on me. I don't like calling very often from the small blind, so I'm between raising or folding, and I decide to 3-bet to $100. Only the cutoff calls, and the flop comes 7-3-8 with 2 clubs. Not only is this board terrible for my hand, but it's also bad for the range of hands I should be 3-betting with. I check, and the cutoff checks as well. I think he would have likely bet with an overpair, so when the turn comes a jack, I take my whole lot of nothing, and I bet $140. If he doesn't have a jack, he will not like this bet. Sure enough, he folds, and we take it down. Soon after, Wolfgang leaves and Lex comes to the table. Lex, as you guys probably know, is a solid player, so I move seats to be a little closer to his left and gain a better position on him. However, once I move, he takes the opportunity to move to my left, and the game is on. Lex, moving to my left, eh? Oh boy. I pick up Ace Jack off in the big blind, there's one limper, and the cutoff opens to $20. He's opening from late position, so I decide to put in the 3-bet to $80. Only the cutoff calls, and we're heads up to a flop that comes 7-3 Jack Rainbow. It's a pretty dry board, so I bet small $50, giving him a good price to call with any pocket pair. He calls, and the turn is a king. I check, and he checks back. The river is a jack, we have trips, and I'm almost positive we have the best hand here, so I bet $150 for value. He folds, and we take the pot. Okay, here's what you guys have been waiting for, a little vlogger on vlogger action. I have pocket 9s in the small blind, and the button opens to $17. I debated between 3-betting and calling, and since I had been throwing in a lot of 3-bets, I just called this time. It's on to Lex, who picks up
pocket aces in the big blind. The button opens up to $17. The small blind makes the call. I put in a 3-bet to $55. The button folds. Now the action is on the small blind. A little background information on this guy. His name is Brantzen. We ended up meeting up at the Commerce and played a 5-10 session together. I didn't play many hands with him while I was there, but what I gathered from watching is that he's pretty solid and he knows what he's doing. So whenever he calls a 3-bet out of position, I put him on a lot of pocket pairs, maybe 5s through pocket 10s.
Lex is right on, as I have pocket 9s, I call, and we see a flop that comes king 9-6 rainbow, bang, I hit a set, and I check to Lex. Lex puts out a small bet of $30, and I think of what to do. Against most players, raising with middle set seems pretty standard, but I know he knows what he's doing. I also know that he knows I know what I'm doing. As the pre-flop 3-better, this flop should heavily favor him, as he can have aces, kings, and ace-king, while I really can't. Also, there's no flush draw, so if I raise, I think he'll often suspect I have a set. Because of this, I just call.
I'm not sure what it was, but I kind of got a bad feeling. I had a feeling that he had a monster. I'm not sure if it was the way he called on the flop or the speed he called.
I don't know, seems like pretty normal behavior to me, Lex.
But I just had a bad feeling. So when the turn is a deuce and he checks it over to me, I decide to actually check this turn card back.
The river comes another king, now we have a full house, but when he checked back the turn, I don't really expect him to have aces, kings, or ace-king very often. If I bet, he'll very likely fold, but if I check, my hand is pretty disguised and it gives him rope to try and bluff. I check, and Lex puts out a bet of $110. Now it's time to put in a raise, and I make it $310 total. If he has a king, he'll most likely call, but even hands like aces, queens, or jacks might want to try and bluff catch. Most people won't check the flop, turn, and river with a really strong hand, plus he might think I want to bluff him for his vlog. He ends up making the call, I show, he mucks, and I take down a large pot against Lex O Poker.
Do not subscribe to this guy's channel.
Subscribe to this guy's channel.
But in all seriousness, it was great to win a large pot against Lex. He's a great player and vlogger, and I have a lot of respect for the guy. Moving on, I pick up Queen King off in the small blind. The hijack opens to $15, and guys, you know it's coming. I put in the 3-bet to $60. Back to the hijack, his name is Tim. He flew all the way from Utah to mix it up with the vloggers. Tim does not look too happy about my 3-bet, but he ultimately makes the call. The flop comes out ace jack 8 with 2 spades. I have a gut shot and backdoor flush draw, and I c-bet to $45. Tim makes the call, and the turn is the 3 of spades. Because I have the king of spades, it is impossible for Tim to have the nut flush, and it's more likely he has a 1-pair hand with an ace or a jack. I apply the pressure and bet $170. If he calls, I plan on most likely bombing the river, which will not put him in a fun position. It doesn't get to that, as he folds and we take it down. I'm running quite well, and I pick up pocket 10s in the small blind. The hijack opens to $10, and I'm in another great spot to 3-bet. I make it $40. Only the hijack calls, and the flop comes jack jack 4 rainbow. Unless he has a jack, I'm most likely ahead here, so I bet $25. No need to go big on this paired board. He's either way behind or way ahead, but he folds, and we win yet another 3-bet pot. After that, we get 10 jack of hearts in the big blind. The button opens to $15, the small blind calls, and yet again, I want to be the one in control of the pot, so I 3-bet to $75. Only the button calls, and the flop comes 5-8-4 all spades. It's an awful board for me, but it could also be an awful board for my opponent if he's just holding 2 big cards and no spades. I'm not going to win with jack high, so I make a small bet to $45. If he doesn't have a pair or a spade, it'll probably do the trick, and sure enough, he folds. Man, I just can't seem to lose any significant pots. Pretty sure I took a page from Mike Possel's book for this session. In this one, I pick up Queen 9 of spades on the button. Tim limps from the Lojack, and I open up to $20. Only Tim calls, and the flop comes Jack 2-9 with 2 spades. Tim checks, I have middle pair and a flush draw, and I bet $20. He calls, and the turn is an offsuit 5. I think I have enough showdown value now with my pair of 9s, so when Tim checks, I check back to see a free river. The river comes a 4, and now Tim leads for $85. It's a big bet. He bet more than the pot, so he's saying he has a very strong hand here or a bluff. Well, all the draws missed, and since he limped, I don't think he'll have a super strong jack. So, unless he got super lucky and hit a set on the turn or river, I think we caught ourselves a good old-fashioned liar. I make the call, he mucks, and the Mike Postle run continues. Tim's a super nice guy. He actually said it was like being at Disneyland being able to play with all of us vloggers. Guys, I just wanted to take a moment and say thank you for watching my vlogs and supporting me on my journey. But sorry, Tim, I can't go easy, and I pick up pocket jacks in the Lojack. I open to $15, Tim calls from the button, and the big blind comes along as well. The flop comes out 6-2-8 with 2 diamonds, great flop for jacks, so when the big blind checks, I bet $25. Only Tim calls, and the turn comes the 9 of diamonds, completing the flush draw, and a couple straights. I slow down and check here, and Tim bets $50. I call, and the river comes the 3 of diamonds. I now have the jack high flush, but Tim could easily have a higher flush. If I bet and get raised, it would be disastrous, so I just check and Tim checks back. I show, he shows 6-7 for a lower flush, and I take it down. Sorry, Tim, this trip might be turning out to be even more like Disneyland than you hoped. Soon after that, the meetup game ended, and I racked up, cashed out, and booked a nice win.
I'm here with the legend Lex.
Yeah, what's up?
I was in for 500 and I was out for $15.95. So pretty good win.
$1,000.
It was a nice win.
$400 of that is mine. You're welcome. Flopping a set. Played it perfectly, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it went well. Shout out to Eddie for these hats.
Yeah.
These are pretty sick. It is 310 offsuit, and then to Tim. He gave me this card protector, so that's pretty sweet. But anyway, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.